Hello, I'm Andrew, and I'm your newest and hopefully favorite in the future video creator. So, as the title suggests, why is bouldering so popular? Why is climbing so popular these days? And I'm here to talk about that. So, every person I know has either started climbing, is currently climbing, or is going climbing by someone they've been invited by, and that person just doesn't stop talking about it. I think genuinely something interesting has happened to this sport over the last few years, and I want to try and explain what I think that actually is, because I don't think the obvious answer is the right one. Obviously, the easy answer can be Alex Honnold, Netflix, and we'll obviously address that, but I don't think that's the real reason why. That's just the most recent thing. So let me start with some numbers because I think the scale of what's actually happening is pretty interesting when I lay it out. So Sport England, which tracks sport participation across the country in something called the Active Lives Adult Survey, counted about 262,000 regular climbers in England back in 2015 and 2016. By 2024 and 2025, that number was nearly 386,000. That's a 47% increase, roughly over a decade. So on its own, it might not sound that significant, but the context is what makes it that much more interesting. Over the same period, football participation dropped 3%, swimming dropped 9%. Two of the most established sports in the country losing people, whilst climbing is gaining nearly 50%. And people weren't just signing up and never going back. Average visits per gym went from 40,000 in a year in 2019 to over 62,000 in 2023. That's a 58% increase in how often people were actually walking through that door. So obviously climbing is growing, but not all equally. According to a 2025 survey by ABC Walls, nearly half of all climbing walls in the UK right now are bouldering only. And of the new ones that have opened in the last 4 years, 62% offer bouldering exclusively. And that isn't a coincidence. Bouldering has specific characteristics that make it almost perfectly designed for how people want to spend their time. So with traditional climbing, you need rope, you need harnesses, you need a partner, potentially. You need stuff. You also need someone who knows what they're doing. So the barrier to just turning up and doing it is comparatively high. With bouldering, you just walk in, shoe hire, maybe an intro class, or you have a friend who knows what they're doing. So within minutes, you're on the wall. And I think that matters a lot more than people give credit for. But the other thing I want to point out is what happens socially in a bouldering gym. Traditional gym culture, whilst it is changing, is typically very individualistic still. Headphones in, don't really interact with other gym goers typically. At most, it's some small talk here and there. How many sets have you got left? Can you spot me? Unless you're going with a friend or you know someone that you've been going to the gym with for a long while, I don't see that level of interaction in comparison to a bouldering gym. The whole environment is more tailored to individual effort. Bouldering is most definitely the opposite. You've got a couple people standing around a problem, someone tries it, falls off. The person next to them suggests a different way of doing it, a different foot positions it. A complete stranger helps you figure out a move that you've been stuck on. You end up chatting to someone you would have never spoken to in any other context. It's created a community almost by accident. And I think that's way more significant than the sport itself. So there's a concept called a third space, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the idea that humans need three places to have. Those three would be your home, work, and something in between. Somewhere where community forms without an agenda. Historically, that was pubs, churches, barbershops, town squares. And that middle space has been disappearing for a few years. Pubs are expensive and increasingly alcohol focused towards a generation where alcohol consumption is historically at its lowest. Parks are passive. You can spend an hour there without speaking to anyone, and regular gyms are more individually designed. And digital spaces that were meant to replace all of this, whether that be social media, group chats, online communities, I would argue have made social dynamics worse. People feel more anxious, people feel more lonely, people feel more excluded with this rise of social media. So what bouldering accidentally did, and what the smarter gym operators are doing now, is to very deliberately fill that gap. Go into any of the newer bouldering gyms in London, the cafe or some sort of communal area is there. People typically hang around hours after they've done climbing to just chill and talk with their friends, myself very much included. Some people just come to work there and not even climb. It's not just a gym, it's a place where people actually want to be. Okay, so all of that's happening in the background, but what accelerated it, what kept pushing climbing into mainstream media, was a series of cultural moments that each introduced it to a new wave of people. 2018, Free Solo comes out. Alex Honnold climbs El Capitan. The documentary wins an Oscar. Millions of people who had never thought about climbing watch it and immediately search for the nearest wall. A few years earlier, with coverage of the Dawn Wall climb, had pushed climbing-related searches up by over 200%, according to data reported by UK Climbing. Free Solo did that at a much bigger scale. Then in August 2024, you have the Olympics, climbing's second Olympics, and this time the format made sense to watch. And I mean, speed climbing, you don't need to know anything about it, but you immediately know what you're getting into. Toby Roberts won gold in an upset. Yanya Garnbrent defended her title and basically confirmed her as the best to ever do it. And then in January 2026, Honnold free solos Taipei 101. 508 meters, Netflix coverage, and then he describes it as a walk in the park after he's done it. Each of these moments did the same thing. They found people who already vaguely knew that climbing was a thing and then gave them a reason to finally try it. The gyms were already there. The culture was already building. These moments were just the final push. So here's what I actually think happened. Climbing got popular not primarily because of one person or an event. It got popular because it unintentionally solved a problem that a lot of people didn't really have the words for. People wanted something physical that wasn't repetitive and unstimulating. They wanted somewhere to go that wasn't a bar. They wanted to meet people without it being forced or weird. And they wanted a challenge that was genuinely difficult but immediately rewarding. And bouldering, by accident, I feel has delivered on all 4 of those above in a way that nothing really else did. So the Honnold stuff, the Olympics, free solo, those are the things that people point to, and they matter, but they're symptoms of something that was already happening. The sport was already growing. The gyms were already busy. Community was already forming. Those moments just made it impossible to ignore. Anyways, that's what I think. Let me know in the comments if you climb. I'm certainly one to do so. That's why I'm making this video. So let me know when you started, what got you into it, because I'm genuinely curious whether people's experiences align with what I've been saying or whether it's something completely different. So that's been me, Andrew. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this type of content, please let me know, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.